Hey guys, I'm Ubiru and welcome back to World of Warships. Today we'll be looking at the Tier 7 Premium American Destroyer, the USS Sims. Now, there are only a few premium ships in the game at the moment. In fact, there were 3 released on the Wargaming store a couple of days ago. And those amongst the others, which are mainly, we have a couple of, like the USS Atlanta, the Albany, the Aurora, the Murmansk, and the Kitakami. Now, they're the only premium ships available at the moment, and the USS Sims is, without a doubt, the fastest ship I've played, probably in this game so far. It's the fastest ship, it maneuvers the best, it has a maneuverability score of 97, which is by far the best. The nearest rival is 90, so 97 is massive. So I did purchase this one, mainly because this one is far better than the other 2 premium ships that you can purchase on the store now. I will post them all in the description below if you guys are in the closed beta and want to have these ships. Or if you're not in the closed beta, you can pre-order them for when the game does come out in open beta and, of course, release. I did buy the Kitakami, which is a ridiculous ship. It has 40 torpedo tubes. Yeah. So we'll do that another point, but today we'll focus mainly on the USS Sims. So the USS Sims, its motto really is firepower, speed, with very little sort of torpedo power and survivability. So the main stats of the ship: survivability, it's a destroyer, it's weak as hell, 24 out of 100, 13,800 health, and a maximum armor of up to 13 millimeters. So 0 on the Citadel, 6 to 13, 10 to 13, and 13 armored deck. This is paper. It can be penetrated by high explosive, it can be penetrated by other destroyer, high explosive rounds. Absolutely everything can penetrate this ship. So this ship is very, very easy to kill. This ship, I would not move anywhere near any bigger ships, the cruisers, the battleships. You would move nowhere near them if possible. Now the firepower for this ship is outstanding for the tier. You have 4 by 127mm guns, which is about standard for a destroyer of this tier. Usually they would have like 2 or 3 guns instead of 4, but the rate of fire of these guns, 13.3 rounds per minute. So this can fire so quickly. The DPM, the damage per minute, is so high if you actually manage to hit with these shots. Not only does it actually fire incredibly fast, but also it turns incredibly fast. You have a 180-degree turn in only 5.3 seconds. So the guns turn around so quickly, like sort of like this speed. So the artillery is fantastic, and a max distance of 12.9 kilometers, which really makes a difference. You can fire, that's a usual sort of cruiser max distance at sort of tier 5 or tier 6. So you can really fully utilize that and keep firing and putting holes and holes into other ships. Yeah, the caliber isn't too big. If you keep spamming armor-piercing rounds, you're eventually going to hit a Citadel of a bigger ship and do 5,000 crit. Or, you know, maybe if you're really lucky with the amount of shells you're firing, you could even get a magazine explosion. The damage isn't very high, though. It's only 1,000 damage for HE and 2,300 for AP, but if you're firing them over and over again, you have 4 guns doing 13.3 rounds per minute, it's going to do a lot of damage. So that's the main highlight of the ship, is the artillery capability, which is just fun. It's amazing. Okay, the torpedoes of the ship. American torpedoes of sort of this tier, they don't really compare in any respect to the Japanese equivalent. They have far less damage, speed, and especially distance. Now the distance of these ones, the 533mm quad gun ones, which we have 2 of them, we just have on the middle of the deck, we have 2 of them. Now the max distance of these tubes is only 5.5 kilometers, so you need to be quite aggressive if you want to get these torpedo tubes used. When I say by aggressive, I mean you don't rush to the enemy and then die, because you will die. It has paper armor, you'll die almost instantaneously. But they do have good speed, so 65 knots and up to 12,000 damage. I would charge towards the other side of a rock, peek and hide. That's your best tactics with torpedoes in this ship. although torpedoes aren't your priority, in my opinion. Your priority is the firepower from long distance. But torpedo tubes, if you have them, you should use them. And if you were to go towards a rock, you would turn sharp left, deploy your torpedoes for an incoming cruiser or battleship coming in the distance within 5 kilometers only. You'd get the hell away with your incredibly quick maneuverability and turning time, and you'll be fine. You should be fine. So torpedoes are pretty good for the ship, but they're not quite as advanced as the Japanese equivalent. They don't go as far as 10 kilometers as the Tier 6 do, but they're good nonetheless. Now the next stat is the anti-air capability of the ship. So destroyers, they're not really focused on anti-air capability. Everything sort of was given a few guns as the tiers progressed because of the advancement in planes, but this only has a score of 11 out of 100. It only has a few guns across the deck, nothing massive. You won't expect this to shoot down any planes of this tier. Tier 7 planes from the aircraft carriers tend to have a lot of health, and you'll be very lucky to shoot down at least one plane. So what I would recommend with this ship is if you were to engage sort of close combat near some planes overhead, I would always disengage your anti-air capability with the P button at the start of battle. If you get spotted with the anti-air firing up and then causing an explosion and then you being spotted immediately and the ships start pouring fire onto you, it's not worth it. Just the 11 score is pretty terrible for this tier. Just press P and continue. It's just too much of a risk. Now the second highlight of the ship, maneuverability, 97 out of 100. This is the best score in the game so far, and for a premium ship, premium ships of World of Tanks, of other games, they're more focused on like less power, less guns, but they're usually given preferential matchmaking. So you're given sort of your tier and 2 tiers below, as opposed to tier 10 games. 39 knots seems to be the top speed of the game so far. 40 knots is a fantastic speed. Everything else goes between 35 and sort of 25. So you can easily outspeed anything. Of course, other destroyers will keep up with you. But it's not so much about the max speed of the ship, but it's the turning circle and the shift time of the ship. So the turning circle radius is 500 meters. That's nearly half of a cruiser. Cruiser's only around sort of 800 to 900. So 500 meters. You can turn this thing very sharp left, and you turn around in only a few seconds. The shift time of the rudder is only 3.5 seconds from full left to full right, or vice versa. So you can maneuver around almost every shell type firing at you. If you come under fire from big ships, you can see the shots coming, see where they're going, and then quickly move left or right to avoid the fire. Maneuverability is such an important skill for destroyers because they have no armor, and this can very easily avoid shells and deal some damage with the 12.9 kilometer max distance. Now concealment is a bit worse than maneuverability. You have a surface detectability range of 7.6 kilometers, so that's all ships. If they get within that range, you will be spotted. And air detectability range of 3.7 kilometers. So if any planes get within 3.7 kilometers of you, they will spot you. So concealment is actually not bad overall. 87 is actually a very, very good score. Probably in the top range of destroyers, but I don't think it is the best concealment score for a destroyer. I believe the Mizuki is 95? Yep, 95. So the Mizuki has a better concealment score over the Sims, the USS Sims. Now let's look at the modules of the ship. Now with all premium ships of World of Tanks, of World of Warships, of World of Warplanes, you can't actually upgrade any of the modules after purchasing the ship for gold. They all have the default ones, which are they're usually well tuned. You sometimes, in World of Tanks for instance, you sometimes get like a terrible gun, or you get terrible engine. In this though, in this particular ship, the USS Sims, it seems to be quite average. It seems to be quite well displaced. It has 13.8 thousand basic health, which is very high for a destroyer anyway, but you know, it's almost like there's no need to actually upgrade. But there is, however, the regular credit bought upgrades which you can buy with every ship in the game. So I've chosen the Torpedo Tube Modification 1 to reduce the critical damage on my torpedo tubes. That's mainly because, well, if I somehow get within close proximity to another ship, a big ship or a cruiser, then I'm in a lot of trouble. And if I can't use my torpedoes, then I can't get out of the sticky situation. And if I've chosen this to reduce damage on my torpedo tubes, so then they can't be fully destroyed, well, 20% less chance of critical damage. And I want them up as much as I can for the ship. The second one I've chosen is the Gunfire Control System Modification 1, which I always choose with ships with high DPM, or who have very, very slow rate of fire. It just basically increases the main battery accuracy. So this fires at 13.3 rounds per minute per gun. But if I was to have increased accuracy on those, if I was to hit more as opposed to miss more, then it would make such a big difference. The next mod I've chosen here is the one I choose for the ships that are very weak, the ships that are very susceptible to fires or flooding. Everyone will fire high explosive rounds at this ship, which will then induce fires. So I've chosen the Damage Control System Mod 1 to reduce chance of flooding and reduce chance of fire by 5%. And the last one I've chosen is the Steering Gear Modification 2, which is a reduced time in rudder shift time. I know it's an incredible one anyway, 3.5 second shift time, but I've reduced that a bit further. If I have that slight edge over other USS Sims in a destroyer duel, so it's sort of within 6 or 7 kilometers distance, then that could work to my advantage if I was to avoid shots he was to fire and he not avoiding mine. With the accuracy buff I've chosen with the Gunfire Control System mod. So the USS Sims is a great ship, in my opinion the best premium ship in the game at the moment. Let me show you guys the DPM. Let's get into some games. Okay, here we are. This is the USS Sims on fault line domination mode. Oh my god, we have a tier 3 on our team. That's not very good. Yeah, I was going to say the matchmaking is pretty below standard for a premium ship of this size. It would usually be sort of tier 7 to tier 5, but this is very much tier 8 game. We have a Wix on our team. Eek. Good thing is though, on this map we are against 3 Kitakamis, which are the new tier 8 torpedo boat, which have 40 torpedoes. So I have to be very careful about those, but also when they fire their torpedoes they are incredibly weak. They can't do a lot about any fire because they can't maneuver particularly fast. They have no decent top speed, so they are sitting ducks essentially. So hopefully I can get some good fire and stay at distance, which is within 12.9 kilometers. I don't know what it is with the ship, but I tend to play it more like a cruiser than a typical destroyer. Like destroyers I've played before, I tend to just go to battle, utilize the torpedoes like as you would expect a destroyer to have good torpedoes. But this ship only has 5.5 kilometer max distance, so I'll only be using them sort of very sparingly, only when ships are within very close distance. So I'm just going to start like a destroyer here. I'm going to go around the corner like I do all the time, go within the corner there, pop down the torpedoes 2 times by 4, who knows what will go there. So it might be one of the 2 destroyers appear in that gap. Hopefully get at least 1 hit. I'll pop smoke and do a full turn right to get the hell out. So I usually do this because the other team spawns in the opposite end to us, and you know, they're always in this sort of location. So I will just do 2 spreads there. I'll do a full turn right with the incredible maneuverability of this ship. Change to AP rounds for the incoming ships. We're against tier 8s, we're not against tier 5s. If we're against tier 5s, I'd be shooting more HE as opposed to AP. But AP I prefer on pretty much every ship in the game, because AP does higher max damage. It does penetrations, it can seriously damage their magazine, and if you get a Citadel hit, it does a lot of damage also. So AP is the one for me. We have captured the base, we are sort of circling around A at the moment, and the torpedoes did go out of range, so they are pretty much useless, but we still have our smoke. It seems no enemies are sort of approaching at the moment, but we can always fire some shots if they are within range now. Now the Fuso is over there, 15 kilometers away. The Nagato is 17 kilometers away. Plane's over there. I am in fact going to disable my anti-air right now, which is pressing P. We do have 1 carrier on the game, and it's on their team. And as I said a minute ago, you always want to disable the anti-air capability of the ship, of this particular ship, because it is so terrible. 11 out of 100. You're not going to fire, you're not going to shoot down any planes in a hurry, so it's best to just turn it off to stop the enemy from spotting you with your AA guns going haywire. So we have a Pensacola here, sort of circling around, trying to spot some enemies in the distance. We have a Fuso coming closer distance of A. He's coming within that gap I mentioned earlier that I tend to fire down quite often. I do tend to catch out quite a lot of destroyers from that the initial torpedo spam. And we are now within range of the Fuso. So we're just going to lay down some fire within sort of that distance. He's sort of 12 kilometers away. It doesn't seem like the velocity of these guns, the shells, it doesn't seem like it's too high. So I have to lead the shots exceptionally well, exceptionally long, in order to actually hit anything. So I probably didn't get any hits there. I didn't register any at least. So 13.4 now, but he is going within the gap up here, which many cruisers tend to sort of lurk around. That's what they tend to sort of fire their initial torpedo burst down there, and they tend to just poke out there and have big battleship duels on the right hand side. So I haven't showed you guys the maneuverability of the ship. The turning circle is 500 meters, and you can just see by that. Incredibly close, going at 40 knots towards a rock, instant turn left, and boom, avoided the rock. 500 meter turning time, turning distance, and 3.5 second rudder shift time. So, yep, this is turning one way and then turn the other way. It's just ridiculous. It's without a doubt the best ship in terms of maneuverability in the game so far. 97 out of 100. It probably will get a bit nerfed because it can turn ridiculously fast, and it is a fairly new ship. It was released to me a couple of days ago. So we have our anti-air disabled, so we're not going to actually, the ship won't automatically open up on that fighter over there. And we're just kiting the rock now, hoping to get around and do some damage on this Fuso. He's within the open nearly, he's sort of where the gap is. Most of the action on the map is around C. We are losing the match. I should probably go and capture B. We haven't got a Nagato here though, so no, the Nagato will draw the fire away from us. And we'll try and get within sort of firing range of the Fuso and help the Nagato out. And at the same time capture A. Of course, if we capture A, then we have more of a chance to win the game as a whole. We are losing the game at the moment. It does seem we are losing in terms of numbers. So I'm just opening some fire down now on the Fuso. He's 10 kilometers away, but we're just going to continue firing with this huge incredibly fast rate of fire, 13.3 rounds per minute per gun. I'm going to slow down a bit here, and then of course the speeding up and slowing time of the ship is incredibly quick as well. So we got a critically damaged hit, we knocked out one of his guns, and we are actually taking some hits from the destroyer. So the destroyer is within 6 kilometers. He is the tier 7 destroyer, so he's the same tier as this. He's the Japanese equivalent. He has really long range torpedoes, and he has some good firepower. So we're just going to focus him down slightly. Didn't hit me any times there. Hit him once, and we can't actually capture A while he is within the cap circle, but we can stop the ticking while being in the cap circle, and the ticking is what counts when you capture a base. We do have torpedoes available, but they're only within 5 kilometers distance of effectiveness. The turning time is just ridiculously good. I have to be very wary now. He probably will do some close together spreads to lure me off. I am going to go in a straight line, just so I can have less of a time in maneuvering left and right when he decides to do his torpedoes. They should be coming any second now. I'm going to keep firing these really quick firing guns best I can. Oh, torpedoes in the distance. I'm going to do a spread shot here, reduce the fire, pop the smoke, and do 2 spreads of 4. Hopefully catch out one of these guys. They will probably see them coming. The Fuso is with very low health now from the Nagato's amazing broadsides. Just going to try and finish him off before the Nagato does, because we're cheeky like that. This is our primary role, is just to screw with them. And we're going to get the kill. We're going to get the kill. We're going to get the kill, maybe. 2,000 left. 2,000 left. 2,000 left. Ah, just such low damage. Only around 100 damage on the bigger ships. Only 135 there. So really, really, really low hits here. And he's sort of within firing reload now. So Probably won't get the kill here, but we're doing some damage, and the more damage counts. Okay, he's only within 500 now, so we could still get the kill. Oh, and the secondary armament of the Nagase finished him off. So the destroyer is there still. He is sort of grounded, so we just reduce speed to almost null and just continue to empty salvos and salvos of AP into this guy and hopefully do some serious damage. Alright, this guy is maneuvering like a beast or super invisible powers or something like that. He must be Superman, but he now is visible again. So we're going to go full stop as opposed to slightly forward or slightly back. That means it will turn off his... when you have torpedoes, you tend to fire them in a direction that is recommended to you, and the recommended distance is depending on how fast the enemy ship is going. So if I'm going no speed and then I see the torpedoes coming and then change my speed to, let's say, full, then the torpedoes will instantaneously miss. So we are still losing the match, but in terms of kills, we are winning. See, he did actually lead the shots where I thought he would. He thought I was stationary, which I was. He fired them where I was stationary instead of where I was going. That's the perfect thing of destroyers. Now I have the advantage here because I have my torpedoes active any second, and he's used his, I believe. It might have been the other destroyer, but still. Also the huge rate of fire, which I still need to lay down on this guy. Not getting many effective hits here. Going to keep leading the shot slightly. The battleship is helping somewhat. Critically damaged, knocked out one of his torpedo tubes. Keep firing as best I can. Going to lead the torpedoes to sort of this distance, 2 spreads. Going to fire him continually. Hopefully knocked out his propulsion, and he is going down. Good kill. So destroyer on destroyer combat is very much like that. It's very very aggressive, very it's like 2 wolves, wolf packs would be a whole bunch of destroyers, 2 wolves attacking each other, fighting for the leftovers. But yeah, it's very quick trigger and quick, very quick combat. So you have to be very wary and very careful about where they're firing, and you have to think of it strategically. For instance, then I stopped, and I knew he was about to do his torpedoes. He then fired his torpedoes, thinking I was going in a straight line, as opposed to being stopped. Then I initiated my throttle, and very easily moved away from them. But of course, the maneuverability of 97 helps. So we are winning quite well now. We are capping A, just to help the team with the battleship. And we have a Megami in the distance there. Nearly within range, but of course the Megami and other cruisers are our primary worry, really, because they're huge firing ranges and rate of fire. So we're going to cap A. We've just captured it, so we've captured twice in this game, and then we're going to engage the Megami. There's only a carrier, battleship, destroyer, and cruiser left on their team. The carrier is probably the other side of the map. Usually in a destroyer, your primary target would be a carrier or other destroyers. But in this ship, despite it being very fast, the range of only 5.5 kilometers on torpedoes renders your ability to knock out carriers substantially less. So we've hit 52 times, 2 crits, 1 flood, 1 kill, 1 torpedo hit. We could have easily taken out the destroyer with just regular fire, as we took down most of its health with. But we did finish them off with style with our torpedoes that we very rarely use. So now the enemy is only down to carrier, destroyer, and battleship. And they seem to be there. Okay, there he is. This is the guy I was duking out with earlier. I do have a bit less health than him. I have to leave my shots particularly well because he is sort of moving at a good speed. He's knocked out my my rudder, so I'm going to pop the smoke, be hidden for a few seconds, hopefully knock him out, and we got him. Good. Good. I got a lucky crit there, crit damage, knocked out his gun, and blew him up. So, very nice. Now we're going to hunt down the carrier. I'm not sure where the battleship is. He might be AFK. It does happen from time to time, battleships being very long distance ships. No, he has got a kill, so he definitely isn't AFK. So we know where the carrier is now. He's just ahead of us, about probably 16, well, probably 20 kilometers away. We're just going to continue with the amazing throttle, and we will get there first. And we'll use our torpedoes hopefully to finish them off. We did just lose another ship. The battleship is engaging. I think it's over, yeah, it's over sea. So I think we'll just stick away from the battleship, focus more on the carrier. 2 kills so far, 55 hits, so pretty good. Nearly within range, but the Lexington is one of the fastest aircraft carriers in the game, so he will be able to sort of... He won't be able to match my speed, but he'll be only a few knots slower. My max distance is 12.9, and he's 14 away. I'm going to switch to high explosive now, because high explosive is far more effective against aircraft carriers, because when they set on fire, their planes are rendered utterly useless. And it's the later stages of the game, so I really wonder how much hangar capacity he has remaining, how many planes he has left. So we're still sort of 1.5 kilometers away. I don't know the health of the battleship. I'm just going to hunt this Lexington down. He can't see me yet. He can't see me for a short, for at least another sort of 6 kilometers, or unless I fire, I believe. There is a plane going near, though, and my spotting distance, my air detectability is something like 5 kilometers, so I can't go anywhere near that. Otherwise he'll spot me, and then the battleship might find me, and then it will all end in crap. I'm going to turn right here to avoid being spotted. If I get spotted, then he'll focus more on me with his planes as opposed to my allies. Okay, we're within firing range now. Not of the front of the ship, but of the back of the ship. We're going to continue sort of firing the front when we get nearer 12. Okay, he's hit the edge of the map, so he has to turn very sharply. I have a speed advantage. In fact, I have every advantage at the moment. The only disadvantage I have is if we run into the battleship, and the battleship has, well, it's the battleship, the Tier 7 Nagato, which can pretty much take on anything. So I'm just going to forget about sort of trailing with it. I'm just going to go straight for it as quick as time as I can. Only fire with the front 2 guns so I can get within range of torpedoes. If I'm sort of within 5 kilometers, then that's the perfect distance. Okay, the battleship is within... Oh, it's 19,000 health, 18 kilometers away, so I'm safe from that. Seems like this this Lexington doesn't have a lot of things to do at the moment. He seems kind of screwed. I'm within 7 kilometers now. He hasn't got any secondary armament, or very limited secondary armament, and he comes within distance, or like only like sort of 5 kilometer distance before it actually gets effective. And I have 5,000 health, so I should probably survive something. I am surprised he's not caught on fire yet, but I am laying down some serious hits on this guy. He's going to go for the torpedo bomber on me, but I'm going to use evasive maneuvers. Pop the smoke. Pop the smoke is done. I can now lead torpedoes, but he is very good maneuverability. He can very easily avoid. Okay, secondary armament is now firing on me. I'll use this to my advantage. I will lead the shots ahead. I will do 2 spreads of, instead of 2 very closely together ones, I'll do 2 spreads instead of that, and I'll continue with the HE fire. Ah! Oh, we won! Oh no! I was about to get a kill there. Oh, damn it! Damn, they must have killed the Nagato, and then ended the game. But yeah, on base experience there, this is 4th highest on our team. 2 kills, obviously no plane kills, and no assists. So pretty good, just less than 2,500 base experience after the game. 2 kills, 80 hits. No fires, funny enough, on the aircraft carrier at the end there. And we captured the base twice. And just less than 300,000 credits. We didn't do a lot of damage overall, but we pelted many shots into the enemy. It says here we fired 205 main battery shells fired. So that happened within very quick succession of me firing at the destroyers and the aircraft carrier. So there wasn't a huge amount of uptime of me on ships, but I still managed to do 200 rounds. Only around sort of 20,000 mark for damage. We hit 1 torpedo, which finished off the destroyer, and we would have got the kill at the end there had it not been for the enemy battleship to sink. So good game. Yeah, so this has been the USS Sims. It's actually a very fun premium ship, and it's only sort of around £20 in English currency, and probably your regional equivalent, maybe around sort of $40 or sort of 30 euros. So it's a very, very good ship. In my opinion, the best premium ship available in the game at the moment. And yeah, definitely, I would definitely recommend the ship. If you want to get it, then it's on the store now. So I'll post a link in the description, just for you guys to have a look if you guys are interested. You know, you don't have to be in closed beta in order to get the ship. You can always pre-order for when you get open beta access or full release access. So I don't know how long it's going to be around. It might not be around forever. So now's your chance. Next time I'll probably be looking at the Kitakami, which is a ridiculous ship, as I've mentioned many times. It's very hard to get right, but when you get it right, it's yeah, you do full spreads of torpedoes, you fill up the whole map with torpedoes flying everywhere, and all you hope for is a couple of hits to get something like 30,000 damage, which is an instant kill almost. Bloody hell, stupid ship. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.